Hello, my mimics, and welcome back to the Mimic Commentary, episode 91. Last episode, we started at the Frenzied Flame Tower. We talked a little bit about the Cuckoo Knights and what they believe. We had, I think, a stunning revelation at the converted Fringe Tower, showing that it seems that maybe the Celians, the Carians, and somehow Mikola are involved with adjudicating the academy. We went through the Frenzy Village, and then we got up to the Church of Inhibition, and we'll talk about that in a moment, but I wanted to talk briefly about the stuff that we learned about the Cuckoos and who this guy might be. I recently watched a video that came out today as of recording from a very big YouTuber, and the information in it, I don't think, was very accurate. So I wanted to kind of recap something from last episode that I had time to think about. So first, this is the Church of the Cuckoo. We've been talking about how the Academy, obviously, is much older than the Carians. If we look at our remembrance, in her youth, Rennala was a prominent champion who charmed the Academy with her lunar magic, becoming its master. So the Academy existed before Rennala. She was just a champion. She also led the Glintstone Knights and established the House of Caria as royalty. So Caria wasn't royalty yet. It wasn't royalty yet. She establishes it as royalty, and she becomes the master of the Academy with her lunar magic. And that lunar magic is the power to enchant. Okay? The power to enchant, to charm and enchant. And she bewitched the Academy. Very similar to our bewitching branches of Mikola that can charm. Speaking of Mikola, we got Mikola's Lily and Trina Lilies, and what do you know? The Church of the Cuckoo has a rug showing many lilies and also this cuckoo bird. Okay, so we're seeing a connection here. But we've already deduced that the Academy is much older than Rennala, and it was most likely developed or created during the Sun Realm. We've seen many depictions of the sun all over the place. If we were to, I think, look at... Yeah, we could see the symbol of the Academy on the back of the Knight's armor. The top, I'm thinking we see the moon. Then we see this 8-pointed star, and then we see the sun. But we want to look at the Cuckoo Surcoat. So we found this. This is in the Church of the Cuckoo. We found a priest of some sort doing, I think it's the benediction of Christ. He has a crystal ball in one hand, and he's pointing up with the other finger. Like he's pointing towards the heavens. And this is the Church of the Cuckoo. So what does the Cuckoo know? If this is a church, this is a religion based inside of the Academy, who existed during the Sun Realm, in the western part of the Lands Between. So there's many different religions, there's many different beliefs, there's ancient hexes, whatever. The surcoat depicts twinned cuckoos peering into a flourishing mass of glintstone. To a glintstone sorcerer, the body is transient, it's temporary, it's not permanent. They know it's not permanent. The cuckoo alone knows its insignificance, the insignificance of the body, yet it watches over it all the same. So in this church, the Church of the Cuckoo is watching over the body, but the body is impermanent. So what is permanent? Well, we think of our Evergails that we've been to. We've been to 2 Evergails so far. We've fought 3 Evergails, and we fought very spectral things in that Evergail. What is a jail that you could jail something forever? Well, we'd think of the spirit. We've talked so many times about how crystals have souls in them. It's baked into Dark Souls lore, and it's no different in Elden Ring. Specifically, when we think of Glintstone keys having the memory of the Glintstone's keys can remember people. So stones are in the memory. We have the wisdom of stone, Terra Magica, which is earth magic. It's feminine though because of the magica. So in even though the Academy is scientific, there is this spiritual thought of the body is impermanent, but perhaps the spirit or the soul, probably the soul, is permanent. It is eternal. We are studying the soul, and we are doing that through Glintstone. We know the body is a transient thing, but the cuckoo is going to watch over us. So religiously, it's the cuckoo. Now, this guy right here. Whoa, my message was praised. I wonder what I wrote. It scared me, actually. So we see this guy here. We have this silly hat, and he has this orb. Okay. If we come to the lift of Dectus, now this is where I was like thinking, hey, look at that guy in the loading screen. Funny you're there. We also deduced, based on the statues on the outside, that, you know, we already were thinking this road is older than the Erdtree's road. You know, it shows Elden Ring iconography, but it doesn't really show Erdtree. It shows, like, it looks like just a cross with the Elden Ring in it. So not tree worship. Then we have these newer statues on top showing the, like, Erdtree Knights and maybe the Erdtree Sentinels, as well as the newer statues of the warrior tree woman, most likely evoking Marika. These lands are connecting two different places. So this connects Liurnia. Actually, do we have... Does the lift say anything? You actually see it. Look at that person on the left-hand side. That person, same similar thing as that guy in the Church of the Cuckoo. It connecting the Altus Plateau to Liurnia. Here we see the sunflower motif that we found in the Bestial Sanctum, which now we know is part of Farum Azula. Also Dark Souls 3, which Archdragon Peak, and Lothric. So here we have Tree Knights, okay? Tree Knights. Now these are different Tree Knights than the other statues. The guys on the horse... Let me show you. The guys on the horse here... And these guys are different than the guys with the halberds. These guys, these statues, the older statues, look like the Erdtree Sentinel. And they even have a halberd. So already, and if we look at our Erdtree halberd, Golden Vow, skill passed down from antiquity among the Knights of the Capital. Wielded by weighty halberd forged of gold, wielded by the Order of Tree Sentinels. Okay, so I think we can deduce now the Tree Sentinels are older than, you know, probably other knights. The Tree Sentinels could be Sentinels of the Tree before the Erdtree Empire. They could be Guardians of the Tree before the Erdtree Empire, okay? This is leading to Altus Plateau, where the tree is. So we have these Erdtree Sentinels on the outside going into Altus. Now let's say you're coming from Altus. We come from the other direction. Who do we have here? Now we have this priest of the Cuckoo, this religious faction within the Academy trying to study the soul and Glintstone. On the top, it kind of looks like... It kind of looks like little crescent moons. That kind of looks like crescent moons. But it's curved inward. It's more like the astroglobes that we find collecting starlight shards. So we could see if this was created during the Sun Realm. This is showing a connection, a unity between the people of the tree at Leyndell, which could be a city just under the Sun Realm that isn't unique unto its own, and then this is representing the cuckoos who control the Academy. It's also funny that they're called cuckoos, like these people are crazy. So that's kind of what I'm seeing there, and I wanted to bring that up. And what it tells us is that this religion of trying to figure out the body and the soul and Glintstone is much older than Rennala taking over the Academy. It's much older than the Carians. This is... You know, we talked about how they have this concord with the Crystallians, and that they banished the use of, like primeval sorcery because of the seeds of the stars and all that stuff. And we think it's because they're trying to prevent people from learning the history of this world. They're protecting this knowledge. The Carians are protecting this knowledge because it's tied to our eternal plot. Okay? So that, I wanted to recap that from last episode. I wanted to expand on those thoughts. Now, for this episode, we have to talk about what do we find up here. So first, we go through the Frenzied Flame Village, and our idea going through the Frenzied Flame Village is that people are taking the Eyes of Yellow, and it's causing them to get addicted and maybe go a little bit insane. Maybe they were already feeling bad. Like maybe they have already pain. Maybe they already have a little bit of madness. But they take this and it's a dangerous intoxicant. It makes it a little bit worse. It might be an invasive drug that's trying to make people crazy and turn them into frenzied people so they can turn all their eyes into one. We see inside of this destroyed eye socket that big fireball of that eye that those people were creating. All those people put their eyes together, as Hyetta would say, and they created this one big eye. So they all saw the same thing. Madness could be, and they're trying to alleviate. They're afflicted by this, and they're trying to alleviate it. You know, when I was thinking, I was like, oh, you know, I understand what it's like to have this like mental anguish. But what it seems like is that these people might be like losing their individuality and just like deteriorating under the strain of like this, like I guess ego death, and becoming part of maybe this hive mind of some sort. We look at Frenzied Burst, incantation originating from the maddening three fingers. In times past, every single person who attempted to control the flame of frenzy succumbed to madness after desperate internal struggle. This incantation is a testament to a meager victory. So someone who died here had a meager victory. I'm thinking they're trying to control the frenzied flame. Like, let's say it's a power. Let's say the frenzied flame is all of these people's consciousnesses melded together into one single entity. And I'm going to control the frenzied flame. So I'm going to take over the frenzied flame, and I say, well, my internal, my inside, who I am personally, is so strong that I will be able to separate it from the frenzy. I will be able to control it. But every single person who's tried has succumbed to madness. After this internal struggle, this who am I? Who am I? Who am I supposed to be? Who am I really? And that's kind of like what I was reflecting in last episode. That, you know, once I regained these memories of my trauma, it came to, oh, well, who am I? You know, I didn't know I had these memories. But overcoming it and feeling better about myself is, well, these experiences happened to me, and my younger self was able to cope with them and was able to survive. And I'm alive at this point, and I am who I am today because of my younger self who had those memories, was able to make it to this point. So, you know, I'm not just one person. I'm all the people I was in my entire life at different points in my life. I'm all of those people together into who I am in the present. Tomorrow, I will still be me, but I might be a different version of me. A version of me that is the culmination of all previous versions of me. And I think that might be reflective of what the frenzied madness, the fire, is trying to evoke from a like personal, maybe philosophical angle. Like, how do you reconcile with all the different parts of yourself and unify it together? It's magical, and it seems like it has to do with space drugs. We also got this note. Beneath laying down at the very bottom lies our Lord of Frenzied, the three fingers who hold us in thrall. So the three fingers are the ones who hold us in thrall. We learned about Shabriri, whose slanderousness got his eyes gouged out, and then Frenzied Flame dwelled within the sockets, and then he starts spreading it. And we learned about Vyke, who he wasn't the Lord of Frenzied Flame. He was supposed to be, but he wasn't. And it looks like it's because he was embraced by the three fingers, seared but with a repulsive fingerprint, burn akin to those marred his entire body. Like Vyke himself, it has tormented by the yellow flame of frenzy from within. So he has the madness within him, and he cast Frenzy Birth because he was trying to control it. Why was he trying to do that? Well, then we come up here and we get a statue of Marika, we get her tears, and then we get a Finger Maiden. Now, the Finger Maiden, let's see. I don't know if we can... last time I thought she had, like, blood on her, but maybe that was just a lighting thing. Let's see. It kind of looks red to me, and she's holding her wrists. And she's dead here. Her eyes are open, a lot of grace, but she's dead. We were having a discussion in the Discord where people seem to be confused about how does death work in Elden Ring. So people can die in Elden Ring, but the issue is that if your body dies, what happens to your spirit? So there's three parts to death, or maybe 2 parts. There's the physical corporeal flesh that dies. Then the spirit attached to the flesh needs to die. We have, every single one of these spirit ashes. These are ashen remains in which spirits yet dwell. So these are cremated. This is a cremated Caden sellsword, and his spirit is attached to this body. It's not able to move on. His soul can't move on. If we look at our spells, we know that in ancient times, it's spells, yes? That once thought lost, the ancient death hexes was rediscovered necromancer. What item am I looking for? Oh, it's the crafting. I'm sorry. It is Rancor Pot. In times of old, the dead were burned with ghost flame, and from those cinders rose vengeful spirits. So before Erd Tree burial, people still can't die. Big capital D death. Not just like their bodies can't die, but your spirit can't perish, and then your soul can't continue on. In times of old, the dead were burned with ghost flame, and from those cinders rose vengeful spirits. Then we come down to our recently acquired ancient death rancor. Sorcery of the Servants of Death. Summons a horde of vengeful spirits, so these are the vengeful spirits that were burned in ghost flame. They are cinders of the ancient death hex, raked from the fires of ghost flame by death birds. So the death birds are collecting the spirits that died. So people, in these times, people die. Then their bodies are cremated in ghost flame. Then the death birds come and they collect the spirits from the cinders. What do they do with the spirits afterwards? I don't think we know yet. If we consider, where is it? If we look at our winged scythe, according to pagan belief, white winged maidens are said to be death's gentle envoys. So these are supposed to be evoking the death birds. These are the angels, the maidens, the white winged maidens who are going to, take your soul somewhere else. We don't know where that is, but it looks like maybe they're just like part of the death birds. So I just wanted to clear that up, that people can die in the lands between, but what's the control over? It's the control over the spirits and the soul. That's why we do, when we met D, very early in our playthrough, the first time we met D, when we got that secret dialogue right here, what was important was that he gave us that secret dialogue just by waiting, that he said, your soul will return to the Erd Tree in time. Honeyed rays of gold deliver this spirit. So he wants the spirit. The body died in Limgrave. The spirit is going to go to the Erd Tree. Honey rays of gold deliver the spirit. And then once the spirit is at the Erd Tree, then the soul will be at the Erd Tree. So from the spirit, then will be the soul. If we think about what is hewn into the Erd Tree. So, upon their ends from Enya, she says, demigods and even the greater of champions are hewn into remembrances unto their end. And from our remembrances, we get remembrance hewn into the Erd Tree. So, the Erd Tree is taking souls and then turning those souls into remembrances. Not only that, since it's hewn from the remembrances, that means the Erd Tree, this is a big tree of memories. It's this big tree of memories. It's made out of memories. And it's turning souls into memories, and that's what it's made out of. What does that have to do with this finger maiden? The maidens who live to serve a chosen tarnished, sharing their guidance and the wisdom of the 2 fingers. The guidance of grace would ensure that the pair be brought together, or at least such was the promise long ago. So we have Melina, who gives us the echoes of Marika, who doesn't have any memory. And she says she'll play the role of a maiden, and we have to follow the guidance of grace. She tells us to follow the guidance of grace, follow the light, bring her to the Erd Tree. That's the accord we have with Melina. Bring her to the Erd Tree. This amnesiac, burned and bodiless soul without a body, wants us to bring her to the Erd Tree, a tree of memories. Hyetta, also kind of memory loss. She used to be Arena, but now she doesn't remember her, and she wants to be a finger maid, and she's following this light of the fingers Now we're knowing it's not the 2 fingers, it's the 3 fingers. It's the maddening 3 fingers. And she wants to be a finger maiden. So there we see this parallel. And this parallel is even is more induced here between the Marika statue and this finger maiden. This is another, I think, big piece of evidence that Melina is an amnesiac Marika. And next time we talk to Marika, we're going to treat her like she's... Or next time we talk to Melina, we're going to treat her like she's Marika. And she doesn't know it. But we think that she is, okay? So what does that say about Vyke? Well, Vyke was wearing knight's armor. And he is... Where is his spear? He was a knight of the Round Table Hold, and this is the armor that we get from the Round Table Hold. So he was a knight just like us. He was a tarnished at the Round Table Hold, most likely tarnished from the Round Table Hold, and this is his maiden. And he took on the 3 fingers. And he was trying to combat it. He was trying to control it. They said, this guy said, our Lord of Frenzied Flame, make chaos... Let's look at what he says again. I didn't mean to do the glintstone. Let's see what he says again. Lord Vyke, it seems you are no lord after all. Okay, so you're not going to be our Lord of Frenzy. Where is he? Our Lord of Frenzied Flame. So someone is supposed to go to the 3 fingers and transfer it into their body. We beg of you, incinerate all that divides and distinguishes. Make chaos take the world. Incinerate, is that what he said? Incinerate all that divides and extinguishes. Now, if we chose a prophet, and I'm having a prophetic vision, I'm thinking that perhaps some people maybe they're misreading the prophecy. Maybe they think that the Erd Tree will burn because of the flame of frenzy, and that will incinerate all that divides and distinguishes, creating this hive mind of sort, bringing everything together as one. And Vyke, maybe he thought he was part of the prophecy, or someone did, and he, I don't know, for some reason now his maiden is dead. Our maiden at the start, at the Chapel of Anticipation, she was also dead. So maybe that's part of the prophecy too, a dead maiden. But he was protecting her. He doesn't want someone up here to see this body. Well, I want to talk about one more thing before we go give the grape to Hyetta. And as many of you know, I am a co-facilitator for the support group Adult Survivors Childhood Abuse. Every single week we meet at our local chapter and we either do one of the steps for recovery, or we go over a topic, or we have an open share. This week's discussion, this was really eye-opening for me. And it's relevant to Elden Ring. Don't worry, this isn't a trauma dump. This is an analysis. This week's topic was depression, the yoke of childhood abuse. Let me read to you what that is. We all know, though it differs from person to person, what depression feels like. The energylessness, the lethargy, without purpose, the dread, disinterest in life, etc. Depression is perhaps the single most universal feeling and experience that survivors of childhood abuse tend to share with each other. Depression's insidiousness creeps into our very core, coating and cooling our being. Our spirit, like an ice storm in winter, coating, freezing, and encasing anything uncovered and protected. So what really stood out to me was this ice storm, like winter. That is what depression is. Depression is winter. It made me think of the Robert Frost poem, Fire and Ice, which A Song of Ice and Fire gets its name from. And Elden Ring, written by George R. R. Martin, has a ton of A Song of Ice and Fire stuff in here. I wanted to bring this up. If we think fire is the flame of frenzy, here is our fire. Looking at our prophecy, burning the Erd Tree, to burn it with frenzied flame. It's a madness. This is our fire. So, and depression is considered like a winter ice storm. So here's Fire and Ice by Robert Frost. Some say the world will end in fire. Some say in ice. From what I've tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. But if I had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate to say that for destruction ice is also great and would suffice. What really stood out to me after doing our shares on Thursday and then thinking about that poem was, if fire is desire, it's passion, it's want, it's outward, it can burn, it can hurt others, it can burn things up, it can burn yourself up. But depression is destructive like ice. The hate is not outward, it's inward. And I think that might be the dichotomy that is at play when we look at Elden Ring as a piece of art, and it uses things like fire and ice to describe what is happening. So far, we do not. The only ice that we have so far is from our. Where is it? Ice Spear, skill of the warriors who served Lunar Princess Ranni. Spim ornament to release cold magic. So on Ranni's story, we should be thinking about themes of depression. And what does that look like? And how does that manifest? This inward hate towards the self, as opposed to fire, which is this outward hate. But it could be, it doesn't have to be hate. It could be passion. It could be desire. Since Vyke was here, and he was trying to be the Lord of Frenzied Flame, it might not be hate for others, it could have been passion. That the reason he took the Flame of Frenzy is because of this passion he may have had for the maiden. Whatever drove him to do this for the maiden. Now, we don't know why yet, but the prophetic visions are waning, and I'm not sure why he would do that for the maiden. But it seems that, perhaps he has this desire and burning passion for his maiden, and that's why he took on the Frenzied Flame. Now, contrast it with Ranni, and when we look at her story, we're going to have to think maybe about depression, an inward hate. And let's give this girl a grape. And before we do, this is a grape that was touched by the three fingers specifically.
They're special grapes which only grow on those who've been clasped by the burnt fingers.
That's right.
Please, could you donate a fingerprint grape to me? Without one, I don't know. I feel like I might go mad.
She's what do you call it? She's relapsing? Oh, her robes look red too. Maybe they are bloody. Oh, they are bloody because she was killed. She got hit with an axe. She doesn't even know.
Oh. A fingerprint grape. Tried and true. What a wondrous thing. A fingerprint grape. Oh, how sweet. Yet, how it burns. Thank you. I've composed myself again.
All right.
May the blessing of the fingers be upon you.
She composed herself again. She was able to take a hit of that. That magical grape.
Thank you. I'm sure I'll be a finger.
Oh, I missed it. I didn't mean to skip it. Let's see it again.
Thank you. From the bottom of my heart, I'm sure I'll be a finger maiden.
Yeah, not looking too good. Not looking too good for Miss Hyetta. She is an addict of the highest degree, and I just gave her a drug. No bueno. All right, we got some miners down here. Explosive barrels, probably to. Yeah, they got explosive rocks. They're trying to blow up a mine or something. I'm looking for some lilies. We are going to go towards the western region. We're not going through that gap yet, but I wanted to run down this way and turn around. Just to see the game from the other angle. What does this say? What are they? Try guard countering. Oh, probably for that night. Wow, there's a lot of messages here. What's going on? Why did so many people die here? This guy can't be that tough. Hey, he's not that tough. Cuckoo guarding the way. Oh, look at all these land squirts. These guys are sucking up all that poison, so this place doesn't fall apart. Yeah, we're not going that way. We are going this way yonder. Updates on video progress. I tried to film my Night Rain video, and I was just using an outline, but... Oh, blood roses. That's definitely, maybe that's why these guys are here. Maybe they're feasting on the blood roses. Definitely people died here if the blood roses are here. I filmed something, but I didn't like how it turned out. Though it was really good practice on getting my Night Rain thoughts together. So right now I'm doing an outline, and I'm trying to focus on using. I'm doing a video that is about how we can use Night Rain as a parallel analysis to Elden Ring, meaning how can we look at how Night Rain presents its story for us to learn what's going on in Elden Ring and how the characters are parallels between the two separate games. You'll notice some of the discussions probably that we've had during the Mimic commentary in that video. The way that we were just at the church right now and talking about Melina and Marika and using it to compare with Hyetta and Vyke. That is, how I think you're supposed to analyze this game. You're supposed to look at the smaller stories and see how that reflects to the bigger story. Very, very common writing trope for George R. R. Martin. Let's see what you have. Somber smithing stone facing this way. I don't know. Doesn't seem like anything exciting. Actually, wait. It goes... No. Nothing there. Very common for George R. R. Martin. Let's see. We want to go here, but first we want to hack on the side. Where, like, the stories of the past are really reflective of what's going to happen in the future story. Like, all the myths and the legends are really there to inform you of what's happening presently in the story or what's going to happen future in the story. Like, someone tells a story and that is foreshadowing for what is going to come for our characters. And that, I think, is very present in Elden Ring. We could look at I guess we've got to keep going south. We could look at like the legend of the blue fairy, the blue dancer. Blade in hand, the swordsman sealed away an ancient god, a god that was wrought itself. And, that is reflective of something else that happens in the story. Speaking of which, I'm assuming we've played enough Night Rain now. I want to talk about, unless I find something interesting, how someone mentioned to me that from the episode where we got the dancer set, let's put that set on so let's be thematic. Hey, don't bother me. So this set, this is nomadic warriors, dancers in blue. This merchant was an isolated merchant, and he also sold 3 sacrificial twigs. If you're familiar... Oh, imitation crabs with the Albinaurics telling us that these are, in fact, imitation crabs. Oh, no. So the crabs are as fake as the Albinaurics. Anyway, there was 3 sacrificial twigs that it sold. And if you're familiar with the Night Rain secret items, 3 sacrificial twigs is very important for the cutting gifted tribe. So the theorizing that I'm doing, and it doesn't really feel like theorizing, it keeps on like spot on the nose. Spot on the nose? Ooh, Sephoric grease. Solidified grease made from a mixture of light purple materials, coats ornament, inflicting sleep. Can we make that? We can. Okay, yeah. St. Trina stuff. So this is St. Trina stuff, but imitation crabs and Albinauric. So St. Trina is this St. Trina is tied to imitation crabs. Anyway, Cutting Gifted Tribe, I was theorizing that they were an offshoot of the Albinauric, not the Albinaurics, of the warrior culture, the nomad warriors, the set that we're wearing right now, the dancer in blue culture. And I was doing that based on the pita bread item, because the pita bread item comes from the Bedouins, an Arabic culture, a nomadic Arabic culture that kind of wears blue kind of shawls and have curved swords and stuff. And someone mentioned on that video in the comments, hey, that has the the 3 sacrificial twigs in that merchant. And then we learned, just by looking into it, so there's 3 isolated merchants in the game. So far we have 2. But each of the isolated merchants have 3 sacrificial twigs each, and there's only 3 of them. The other isolated merchant, we haven't found him yet, but he has the Land of Reed set, which makes us think of Executor. So this seems like very clear evidence that there are references to Night Rain within Elden Ring. That seems pretty clear to me. And it's probably going to be the case where in Night Rain you may have noticed that there's no Shadow of the Erdtree stuff except for the demi-human boss and the hippo boss. And that leads me to believe this Arterial Leaves. Okay, so we passed some wolves to get to Arterial Leaves. Radigan's the red wolf. So this, I'm getting Radigan. We can, from here, we see the Academy. Can't see Caria, but we could just see the Academy. Yeah, I could see why Meta thinks that's Radigan. Anyway, the wolves just led to an Arterial Leaf. Very weird. But so the Elden Ring was developed, or Night Rain was developed during Elden Ring's development cycle, and those 2 bosses, those 2 Shadow of the Erdtree bosses, are most likely bosses that were completed before Elden Ring was done. What the? So, it makes me think that the DLC for Night Rain is going to have a lot of references to Shadow of the Erdtree. And that was a finger, like we've seen in the study hall. So, are we on the right trail? I'm looking for something. I thought there was supposed to be a crystal. There it is. Okay. This is what I was looking for. I knew there was a crystal over here. So, fingers ahead. Okay, these guys, we don't know much about these guys yet. These little hand things. They're like spiders, but they're not. They don't like fire. They do not like fire. Opposed to fire. I see one on the ground. This one's bigger. Has rings on it. You know, the only hand thing we know of right now is the 2 fingers, but this is way more than 2. And they dropped somber smithing stones. So, and they were found in the study hall. So they're tied to the Carians in some way. Especially since they boost intelligence. That's what I was looking for. I knew that was over here. I don't know how you're supposed to normally find that. I don't think I probably found that in my regular playthroughs. I probably had to look it up. Yeah, I can't say anything about the fingers yet. But since, I guess the hands. They're not fingers, they're hands. Do we ever get a name for them in the base game? Yes, we do. We do. We don't get to know what they're called until Rykard. Oh my goodness. Oh, you guys got anything in here? Oh, you have an item. Just an old fang. Oh no. Oh no. Do I have? There we go. Oh, I want your pole. Anything? No. Anything else? Oh, I gotta kill all the Albanarks because I need these items. We need to know the lore of their sticks. Him, I don't think you dropped that one. We also want to blow up the balloons. Yeah, anyway, I think that outline is coming together pretty well. Much easier than writing a script. You know, how I do outlines is... Oh, I didn't want to do that. What I do is I just write I like write a blurb of something I want to talk about. Then I just put the items there that are like good evidence for it, but I don't like write what I'm going to say. So that video is going to be a lot of ad-libbing, but it's going to be guided because it's going to be going in an order that makes sense. And I think that video will turn out pretty well and be pretty enjoyable. because it'll be more cohesive. It'll be similar to the Deathroot video I did, but it's going to be better put together. How far back do I have to go? Oh, goodness. Okay, so let's actually... We're just going to have to run through this again. I guess we'll go around there a long way. It's important to look at this stuff. We don't want to... No stone left unturned. Except I was already here, so just kidding. Let's teleport. My goal is to get to the Belfries. Or at least so the next episode is the Belfries. Oh, no, we have an Evergaol. Ooh. Oh, do we do... We did that. Okay. This is the way to go. There's our ocean that ends in the Sea of Fog. Oh, you can see Mount Gelmir really good from here. Nice. Okay. Let's do our Evergaol. Who is jailed in our Evergaol forever? This weapon probably isn't going to do us too good. Even though Rajir's rapier has a flowing style. Dude, Rajir... I don't trust Rajir anymore. After doing Mimic commentary, I don't trust him anymore. I don't think he's lying. I just don't trust him. Ooh, this is interesting. This is an Evergaol that isn't locked. There's no stone. You don't need a stone sword key to use it. And here, look at this. You see blue fire. Different type of fire than anything else we've seen. Except in Night Rain. It's another piece of evidence that this is a forever jail of the soul. You can see the blue flames, yeah, around us. That's so interesting. I forgot that this was, I guess I just never really noticed. And then we have runes around it. Can we see, what type of runes are these? Are they similar to the spirit calling runes? I'm seeing... I think they might be similar to the spirit calling runes. Yeah. And that's giving me Eternals. I mean, it's an Evergaol, so maybe it is something from the Eternals. You know, they do Starlight Shards and stuff, so that makes sense to me. Oh, this is actually... Alright, and we're back. I forgot to buy this shield over from the Nomadic Merchant. Now, this shield comes from the Prisoner class, who has the old Carian Blade. So the Prisoner class, their origin, is supposed to be someone related to Caria, who was banished with Godfrey. So Carian magic and knowledge made it outside of the Lands Between and back into it. This shield, and then the Prisoner set comes from the Hermit Merchant. Is this guy a Hermit Merchant? Nomadic Merchant. No, so from the Hermit Merchant in Ul Palace Ruins, which is kind of, you know, had a giant space bug and then had the Eternal Throne right here. The only thrones that we've seen so far are Celians. So what is this shield again? Small metal round shield depicting a sinister rift. An antiquated charm, so it's old. This is an old charm that glares back at the enemy. It boosts focus. So this is an old charm, and that charm is coming from here. This is that rift in the ground. This is the Cuckoo's Evergaol. So the Evergaol is owned by the Cuckoos. The Cuckoos own this Evergaol. And who do they put into it? Bols, Carian Knight. And here's that sinister rift. So his spirit is stored in the Evergaol, and he just smacked the crap out of me. There's his Carian Glintstone blades. They're much bigger, and they killed me, and I lost my rune arc. No wonder they put him in the jail. Thank goodness someone put a Stake America here. So, that was embarrassing. At least I have so many more rune arcs now. Let's put on some armor, shall we? That was bad. Alright, we're back to try it again. This time I won't embarrass myself. Hitting him with this fire. Wow, what foreshadowing. This is our third night. The other one we fought was a puppet. This is the color of the jailed enemies. Very unique amongst any type of spirits we've seen, but I think spirit nonetheless. Oh, geez. I didn't think that was going to hit me. I feel like such a chump losing to these losing to troll knights. So his troll roar gave him more power. Yeah, you're not gonna grab me, buddy. I'm just gonna be a caster. Not today, pal, not today. Alright, what's our reward? Great Blade Phalanx, excellent. More Carian magic. How much intelligence do you need? 29 intelligence. So that troll, he's a pretty smart guy. He's smarter than me, to say the least. That's why it took me twice to beat him. So 29 intelligence, he is very smart. Creates a defensive arc of larger magic glint blades overhead, which automatically attacks nearby foes, used by the enchanted troll knights. They were the comrades of the young Rennala, bound by an oath. While we already knew that she had oath-bound giants because of her boss fight, and the illusion of the memory of Rennala summoned them. And just more confirmation that there is an oath between them. But they are slaves to the Erdtree Empire and treated with disdain by it seems like everyone around. So interesting that the Carians have an alliance with a group that aren't treated with much respect. Very early on, we read the Latin about the lament of these women. And we talked about how very human. She even has a hairnet with pearls in it, and her hair is braided as well. Skin-like, very human skin-like. You know, we talked about the vampire bats from George R. R. Martin. Most likely human. At least once human. And now dead. And they drop Golden Rune 6. Oh, and an Arteria Leaf. This is the second time that we found Arteria Leaves, I think, by bats. So Golden Rune 6 is those born at the foot of the Erdtree are blessed. At least that is the enduring belief of those born at the plateau. So these bats were born at the foot of the Erdtree. And they're blessed. That's probably their lament. They say, "Oh, Golden One, why have you forsaken us?" I think in the dialogue, or in the translation. And yeah, it seems like something happened that changed. It wasn't in their favor. And then, oh, what do you know? Site of Grace. This is the perfect place to stop. Because next episode, where does Grace want us to go? Grace wants us to go, wow, Grace really Grace really wants us to go that way. Grace really wants us to go over here. So what did Grace want us to do so far? Grace said, go to the Weeping Peninsula, and then go fight at Castle Morn. You have to see what's going on at Castle Morn. It's so important for you to understand what's happening. You have to go to Castle Morn. And we learned about the Revenger and the Red Leonine Misbegotten, who led a rebellion. And we got this big old sword. Where is it? The lone surviving champion from a country now vanished. The Revenger's weapon, the storied sword of Castle Morn. The entire clan of warriors. Hey, you know who else is a warrior? These nomads. So, Grace wanted us to do that. Grace also wants us to kill Godric. Okay. Did that. Boom. You're welcome, Grace. Then Grace says, go to the academy, get the Great Rune of the Unborn. We did that, Grace. Grace says, go to the Erdtree, go to the Grand Lift of Dectus. Okay, well, we can't do that yet. I don't have both pieces. I'm like, oh, well, you can't do that yet. I have two. Grace, Marika's grace. The grace of the Erdtree that gives us life. Marika's grace. Wants us to go this way. It wants us to go this way so bad it's got two different things of grace saying, go this way. All right? Marika, why do you want us to go this way? Next episode, hopefully we'll find out. we're going to travel up the 4 belfries. We already have 1 imbued sword key, so we get to use 2 of the belfries. Isn't that cool? All right, everybody. You know the drill. Let's do the thing.